Does the promise of war excite you?
You cannot bend the knee to the High Towers. They stole your birthright.
If you could take the Iron Throne without putting Otto Hightower's head on a spike, would you?
Are you not angry?
Well, I should declare war because I'm angry.
No, because it's your duty as queen to crush rebellion.
You know my oath reaches beyond our personal ambitions. A song of ice and fire.
What?
The coming war against the darkness in the north, the conqueror's dream. Viserys shared it with me when he named me heir.
My brother was a slave to his omens and portents. Anything to make his feckless reign appear to have purpose. Dreams didn't make us kings. Dragons did.
I never told you. Does he?
From Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to the House of the Dragon with Mary and Blake. It's a podcast dedicated to the House of the Dragon on HBO. So sit back, relax, and let's talk about fire and blood. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and boy, do I love me some bookends. Give me all the bookends. And there's a big one in this episode. Yeah. Very big one. Mm-hmm. So very excited about that. Mary.
Yeah.
Your thoughts, man. I mean, let's just get them off straight off right at the top here. I mean, I know we got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about and do, but yeah, we actually have not talked about the finale yet with each other at all. We watched it and then we just went to bed. So
I think because there was a lot to digest.
I'm just
that was a
doozy. Genuinely interested here.
That's my word. Doozy.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy.
Good doozy or bad doozy?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did not expect that.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that's
I'm coming with fighting words, friends. I am coming for you. Well, of course, we want to let everybody know that this being the finale episode of The House of the Dragon, you might be like, what? I like hanging out with you, Mary and Blake. And if you don't know our other podcast, now's a great time to do that. You can actually search your social media handles. Facebook, Instagram are the ones that we're the most social on. Just search Mary and Blake. You can also head on over to maryandblake.com to see all that we do. And we want to recommend that you come on over to the dark side, to our Facebook group. Just head on over, search Mary and Blake. We would love to have you there. We are going to be podcasting again about the Potterverse. So if you are a Harry Potter fan and haven't yet listened to those episodes, you can catch on up. But just know that our schedule is now freeing up with House of the Dragon and Rings of Power now having their finale episodes. So Harry Potter stuff will be back. And we're also delving back into The Crown, which is coming in November. So if you're a fan of that show, you do need to be a member at jointhenerdclan.com to get access to that. We do most of our shows free of charge for the general public, but that is a show that we do have just special for our patrons. And this is also the season that you want to become a patron because we send holiday mail and gifts for various levels. So head on over to jointhenerdclan.com. Friends who are already members there, thank you. Thank you for making this all possible. And on that note, let's get into the show. Time for my mini plot recap. This is the finale. Princess Rhaenys comes on over to Dragonstone, tells everybody, P.S. Viserys is dead. Aegon's now king. Rhaenyra has a stillborn birth. Everybody's getting upset. Corlys comes back, says, I'm on your team. Lots of people come back, say, I'm on your team. Rhaenyra gets a crown. And then her boys go out to go, say who's on our team. And in the process, little Luke gets eaten by Aegon's dragon.
Ooh.
So that sucks. That's your little recap.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's
Not great, Bob.
No, not great.
Oh.
Blake, tell me some of these episode details.
sure. The title was The Black Queen, which is an apropos title because it celebrates the fact that Princess Rhaenyra has become the queen, and it also kind of runs hand in hand with the previous episode's title, which was the Green Council. So, we can all interpret it to being a partnered episodes, if you will, at one half and the other half telling the same story at the same time, just different perspectives, which I think is both very good and kind of bad. In a sense, and that's one of the things that I want to talk about when we get to that. But yeah, the Black Queen, that is the title of the episode. The director was Greg Yaitanes. Now, you should know that name because Greg Yaitanes has directed The Rogue Prince and Second of His Name. And the writer was Ryan J. Condal. You should definitely know that name because he's the showrunner and will be the sole showrunner for season 2 once that comes along. He has technically he has, creative say over every episode, right? That crosses his desk. He's the one that's responsible for not only for the writing, but for all the decisions.
I know who to blame. Okay.
Yet he gets specific writing credits for episodes like The Heirs of the Dragon, The Rogue Prince, and Second of His Name. Marvin?
Yeah.
I'm ready to hear it. I'm ready to hear the flames. How many flames are you giving this one?
4, and that is...
That's low.
That is gracious.
Ooh.
Because I really wanted it to be a 3.9. Yeah, I am. 3.9. Just changed in my Google Doc that none of you really see. 3.9.
At least she made it official.
Yep. It's officially 3.9. How about you, Blake?
Wow.
Yep.
This is...
You can thank Ryan. Continue. Blake.
I don't think I've ever... The only time I've ever seen you give below a 4, I think that was that episode of This Is Us with the guy that was trying to get with Kate at camp.
Yep.
That's the only time I've ever...
Because this is just as classless. Continue. Oof. What's your flame rating?
Okay, all right. I'm giving this one a 4.75.
Awesome. Good for you.
Good for you.
Because you don't have a uterus. We're going to jump in.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not saying you're wrong.
I know. Because had certain... Okay, yeah, 4.75.
Okay, fine. So I am going to say it's a 4.75 only because...
Which I think is actually low for a finale for you.
No, I did not give.
Okay.
I think I gave Outlander season 6 finale around this level.
Okay.
And actually, I'm giving it the same rating probably because of the same reasons that I gave that for Outlander season 6.
Interesting.
So, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Oh my goodness.
All right, your GBG. What do you got for your good and your wicked bad, dude?
My wicked bad.
And your great, if there is one.
Jeez Louise. There is.
Okay.
So my good is I'm so happy Corlys came back and he's not dead.
Okay.
I think that he is a really calming presence. And I actually think that this is where Rhaenyra got a lot of his good relationship building. There's a lot of bad relationships in the Game of Thrones universe in general.
Lots of toxic masculinity.
Loads of bad marriages, bad relationships, threats. And, we've talked in the past about how much we admired Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra's relationship with each other, the honesty, the seeing each other as equals. And I think a large part of that was thanks to Corlys and Rhaenys' marriage and Rhaenyra getting to see what that was like. Because even his sister seemed to have good communication and understanding. So was it the most romantic relationship with Daemon? No. But was it clear communication? And I think that's a lot because of Corlys and Rhaenys.
That's fair.
And so when he comes back and he has a 6-year long, I'm sorry he needs to do. I loved his choice. that, of course, he wants to be with Rhaenyra. I think that a lot of this is also, it's about damn time, as Lizzo would say, that a woman be on the throne because his wife couldn't be. And I just thought, I loved how Rhaenys's, you effed up kind of conversation. Because I would not be sopping his little brow sitting there when he's giving her flack. Oh, I've had people flogged for sleeping, on the job. No, man, I have not been sleeping on this job for 6 years. But just the way that they're able to have this conversation when she obviously has a lot of pent up frustration and resentment for him leaving her after they just lost both their kids. But you can really see that they admire each other and they balance each other out. And when they do go to the table and they start to have these plans and she's like, yep, giddy up. My husband's taking the seas. I'm taking the skies. Love it. That is my good.
Okay.
Marriage goals. Ready for this bad?
The wicked bad.
The wicked bad. The pregnancy loss was just way too much for me.
Sure.
There should have been trigger warnings on this episode. Heck, all of the episodes dealing with, issues with birth. And I don't understand why this show has to have so many issues with birth. And to that, I want to say it's Ryan Condal probably. Oh, look, another person with a dick. Greg Yates, whatever.
Yatanus.
And you know what? You know what 2 episodes he did? Male-focused ones, Greg. Okay? You probably shouldn't have done this one. You probably shouldn't have had a writer who was male. Remember how we talked about how the female view of sexual exploration, that was by a female director? Mm-hmm. Yep. You can definitely tell that a man did this one. I'd be interested to know if either of these guys actually have a baby, have been able to go through miscarriage and birth. Maybe it was so traumatizing that that's why they decided to do this, or maybe not. But I feel like Game of Thrones has been like, oh man, people don't like us having rape as a threat all the time. Like, that's just like, people don't like that everyone was raped or they were threatened they were going to be raped. So this time, let's do things that are scary about childbirth. Mm-hmm. Like, who needs rape? Who needs blood? And yes, in episode 1, we hear that this is your battlefield as a woman. But there were trigger warnings for other bloody things, and there should have been one for this one. I think that there are a lot of people who are pregnant who probably couldn't watch this show. Myself, I had 2 miscarriages, and this was like just so... It was too much. You can show a stillbirth. You can go through pregnancy loss. You can do all of these things. But I think that the way that they handled this did not help the episode, did not help the storyline. We get it. Like, you could have done this in a different way. She could have still had a stillbirth. And I think that it could have been filmed and given enough time that it was handled differently. But when I ended this episode, that is not what was important to me. It was Luke being eaten, which was important to me. It was, okay, she's no longer pregnant, so we don't have to worry about that, like, essentially messing up as she goes to war because she's not going to be pregnant on Dragonback. Like, it wasn't important to me. Yes, did her mother have die and have, a stillborn child in the first episode? Is this a bookend? Guess what, Ryan? Wrong bookend. I just think that not only is this a problem, but this aired in October. And October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. So, F you, Ryan, for making all people who have had traumatizing miscarriages and stillborn births, or are currently pregnant, or that this might have been difficult for, just F you. F you for your insensitivity and not having a trigger warning, particularly in this time, and F you for your usage of, oh no, birth is scary and hard. F you gets people with uteruses on your team.
Well, I think he has a lot of women on his team.
Not enough.
A lot of
have
whom have
veto.
written and directed many of these episodes. So
not this
to say
one.
that he doesn't have that, I think, is a little unfair. However, Mary, while I can see an argument to be made that, well, if we put a trigger warning for this, then what's the slippery slope? Then we're going to put a trigger warning for everything.
How many trigger warnings did we have in Game of Thrones? Plenty.
I don't know. I don't think we did.
You get it for rape. You get it for rape.
Well,
and you get it for like scary bloodshed scenes.
Oh wait, time out. So are you saying like a rating system, or are you saying, okay, this episode is going to depict traumatic?
Both. But definitely this episode is going to depict traumatic things. That should have been put.
Okay, well, again,
if they continue to use birth as their shock factor, they're going to lose a lot of the population.
Sure.
I just think that this is their easy button, and they're showing it in a way that I don't think helped the show.
Well, all right. So let me take a step back on this real quick.
I mean, we can
I know
talk
we're in your
about it in a
GBG.
discussion. Yeah,
We're in your GBG. So
and I'm fine to leave this in the GBG because I think that it has that little impact in the storyline of the show that this particular stillbirth is so unimportant going forward that I don't even think it deserves room in our analysis. So if we just want to do it now, I'm here for
all right,
it.
let's just do it now. Let's just do it now off the top because we're already here, so we might as well get it done. I think it work. I think the birth in and of itself works thematically within the story. The graphic nature of the birth.
It's the graphic nature that I have a massive problem with.
The graphic nature of the birth, I can see why someone who has suffered a miscarriage would, or losing a baby, or a stillbirth, whatever, or had a hard delivery, or anybody that can empathize or sympathize with that, they would look at that and say, "Hey, what are we doing here?" I see that. I also see the argument of, well, you should have, like, Obi-Wan in its first episode had a trigger warning, like, hey, this is a thing that is coming up. We didn't know this at the time, but we want to put this warning up here that this could be upsetting for some people.
Yeah, like maybe you didn't know it was going to air in October, which is literally pregnancy and infant loss.
Well, I think October is probably more famously known for breast health and breast cancer awareness than.
Yes, but I'm just exactly because there's two men in charge of this episode. I'm saying that I bet a lot of people who are more in a community that deals with birth, they also know that because like people share this in social media. People talk about it a little bit more.
Yep.
So,
but on the other hand, devil's advocate here to your argument, I can also see why someone would say, well, if we put a trigger warning at the top of this episode about stillbirth or whatever, where do we draw the line? Because someone's going to get triggered by something in every episode. So what are we doing? Like, why do we? What's the? Is that a slippery slope?
I don't think it's a slippery slope, and I think that this was very different than other situations in this show. And I think that they are doing this for shock factor. And I'm not saying that she couldn't have had a stillborn baby. I mean, she's having incestual relations with her uncle. Like
that's going to happen.
Obviously, things are going to happen and pregnancies are going to go wrong. Do I think that this adds fuel to her mama fire where, you know, pretty much losing 2 kids in a month? Yes. Are they adding in hormonal reactions? I didn't see her leaking milk. I didn't see her dealing with any other lingering effects of just going through a miscarriage. So I don't even think that that's playing into it. Mm-hmm. So they just needed her to lose this pregnancy. That was what they needed. Mm-hmm. They didn't need it to take so long. And yes, they showed her as a champ, a fighter, going through this birth, not wanting the assistance, the little flashes of the dragon, whatever the heck that meant. But I think that it was too graphic and too long.
Well, I honestly, and this is not just because we're married, and we have to sleep in the same bed tonight. I honestly agree with you that I felt that it was a tad graphic, and it did go on for a bit longer than it probably should have. And I don't know how that graphic of a scene and that long of a scene serves the narrative.
Like 1 in 4 pregnancies ends in a loss. And so if you just think like these are your viewers and yes, it's real. So depicting things like that on television, yes, it is important for people to know, like this is what happens sometimes in pregnancy.
Yes.
But it was too graphic for, especially having that extended graphic nature of that loss did not add to the story for me. It did not add to my experience or Rhaenyra's storyline for me. Just having a stillbirth alone in this short period and having her be at her child's funeral as she is crowned queen, that all still could have happened.
Yeah.
But I think that Like, to me, as someone who has gone through loss, her reaching down and feeling the blood and knowing it was too early, you knew what was coming. And that in and of itself is a gut punch to you.
Yes. That, and I would say, I think you're on board with the concept, and at least half of the application being effectual. However, the remaining half, the full graphic nature and all that other stuff, is probably not. You're saying that it's ineffectual in terms of the narrative itself, other than just spectacle.
And because this was so bad and so long, exactly, because they wanted it to be a spectacle, in my opinion, that is why this is so low. I would have given this episode honestly close to a 5, if not a 5. Had that been handled tremendously different. I often rate episodes based upon, like, would I like to rewatch this?
Yeah.
What was the impact? The impact I left with was, thank God, because I just kept like pushing out the trauma of the stillbirth, was Luke. And Luke being eaten. That has been what's been sitting on me. And so I still am immensely impacted, and that's why I don't want to talk about it too much more.
Yep.
But what I'm saying is that aside from this, I really enjoyed this episode, and that I hope that these people who are in charge do not continue this trope of, let's show that birth is the battleground because she's a girl. Like,
well, I mean, I don't mind that. But again,
graphic.
the application of it is different. I think the theme and the thematic work of it is actually poignant and pertinent.
Okay, fine. But just handle it differently.
All right, so let's move on to your great, because that's where we still are. What do you got for your great?
My great was that my heart was in my chest the entire interaction between Luke and Aemond. I mean, from the moment when Luke lands and he sees Vhagar in the distance, and to be honest, like, I don't know Vhagar's silhouette, so I didn't know that, like, that was definitely her. But
you know,
now looking back on it, it's a big dragon, exactly. So as soon as he goes in, and how just like messed up Aemond is, that he's like flipping out on Luke in front of all these people who he doesn't really know. The whole dragon chase, I mean, all of that had me in knots, and I'm actually quite thankful for it, because that is what I left with.
Yeah.
It's like when you eat a bad meal, but then you have like a nice dessert and you no longer have the yucky meal taste in your mouth. This is what was still in my mouth. It made such an impact on me. I wanted to cry for Luke. As I rewatched the episode, mind you, I fast forward through the parts that I don't like, and that's why it's so low. But all the little moments that that Rhaenyra has with Luke, and during our rewatches, I can't wait to see this too. My heart just goes out to him, and that impacted me. And because of that, it's my great. How about you? What's your GBG now that I'm done?
I knew, just building off of what you were saying, Mary, I knew that as soon as Rhaenyra agreed to let her 2 sons go, one of them was going to be dead. And then it became ever so clear to me when she's rubbing his hand with her little finger. And I said, and I even said to you right then and there, as Luke was taking off, I said, this kid ain't making it back.
You did.
And you're like, no, he can't. You know. And sure enough,
I just wanted him
you
to
saw
fly
Vhagar.
away.
And when Vhagar showed up, I said, that this kid is donezo. DED, dead. So that's that. All right, my good was the painted table. I thought the painted table was awesome. And again, this is how the show can build off of Game of Thrones, but allow for itself to be its own thing. We were already familiar with the painted table because of our experience with Daenerys at Dragonstone in the later seasons. However, in this version of Dragonstone, we see the painted table. We're like, oh, cool, that's the thing. Remember the thing? I remember the thing. And then they add to it by lighting it aflame. I thought the painted table, when it glows and all of the crevices are just burning fire red.
It reminds me of when you teach somebody something new about their iPhone, and they're like, it can do that?
How did I not know?
Yes.
Like, I felt that way when like you press down the space bar on your keyboard. It allows you to go throughout the entire paragraph.
Yes.
I didn't know that until like a year ago.
Yeah.
And then when I found that, I said, how did I live without this?
Or how you don't have to physically tap. You just move your finger along those letters and it smartly knows what you're trying to type.
Right.
But yes, that's, I mean, and how did this knowledge not get passed down?
Right.
People have no idea that it's got this super cool aspect to it. They're probably like, why is this table so dark? I can't even read the letters. Let's paint it white.
So, yeah, painting. It's like when you paint brick white or
Yeah.
black. You're like, no, please don't do that.
Yes.
But not only is it just the painted table being my cool thing, but what that represents, right? It is, I think it's supposed to be, it's supposed to be a mirror, I think, of Daenerys and what that means for the Targaryen family. And more importantly, I bring that up because Rhaenyra herself says, I don't want to reign over a kingdom of ash and bone, which I think is a direct reflection and commentary on hashtag spoilers, Daenerys and what happens at the end of Game of Thrones. Because that's what she was willing to do in order to sit on top of the throne. And that, and again, this kind of theme, what are you willing to do? How far are you willing to go to gain the Iron Throne? That plays out throughout this whole episode. And that kind of, and Rhaenyra's reluctance and the wise words she shares, it's all a mirror and it all plays in juxtaposition against what Daenerys did. And more importantly, we even have that scene where Rhaenyra is sitting at the painted table and Rhaenys is monologuing to Corlys saying, that girl is the only thing keeping this realm together right now. Everybody on her in that room, every man in that room is saying, go to war. And it shows the camera creeps in on Rhaenyra in slow-mo over the painted table as everybody else is fighting, as everybody else is arguing. She's the only one sitting down thinking.
I loved it. It made me think of like when you're at Thanksgiving and things are political all around you and you're just like, I just want to eat my mashed potatoes in peace. No? You didn't get that vibe? People be talking and arguing.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
when you're
enough.
at like a loud family event, you don't even want to be there.
Right.
You just want to be watching the parade.
Yes. Or watching some football.
Hey,
Sure. Whatevs.
Each their own.
All right. My bad. And I have to bring this up because I absolutely killed Outlander for this. I killed Outlander for the fact that I thought in the finale that it was a good episode unto itself, but it did not feel like a finale. And I think this episode for House of the Dragon suffers the same thing.
Oh.
This to me actually feels like a penultimate episode. This is the thing that I was looking for leading up to the finale, where it's like it leaves off on this slight cliffhanger.
I mean, I think it's a massive cliffhanger. Like, there's going to be war.
Yeah, but that's
I
not-
want to know, how does Alicent react?
Mom,
I just killed Luke.
So we got a problem.
Why? Because of your new blue eye? Could you not see where you were going?
Do you have depth perception problems?
I was just trying to get his eye, Mom.
And this is why, Mary, I bring up to you the notion of this being a paired episode with the last episode, right? The Black Queen and the Green Council are this great tandem that work together very well. It's you take a timeline of events and then you play one half and then you play the other half. Not necessarily, I mean, it's not occurring at the same exact time, but it's so close together that it's relevant and pertinent and apropos to play them like almost simultaneously.
Yeah.
What this feels like to me is a build-up to what would be the next episode when both of these things collide and clash. And that, in and of itself, I think there's an argument to be made here too, right? Because should there be another episode? Did this leave? I mean, we know what's going to happen. We know that the Dance of the Dragons is going to begin. So it's not cliffhangery, though it is a cliffhanger because it ends us off on a on something that happens, and then we're just left to our own devices. But my sense is that this is the full buildup, and we should be getting something else to come out of it. Like there should be a final moment between the two families that happens. It's exciting, and it builds up, and it is excellent unto itself. I really enjoyed this episode. Like I would give this mid 4 9s, like 9.5, 9.6. I really enjoyed it. But I was just waiting for the next thing to happen.
Okay.
Yet we leave off on Rhaenyra turning around, facing the camera, and then we cut to black. Mm-hmm. Now, I guess the question is, how do you want to finish off theme, right? So, like, I guess if we're maintaining that theme of this episode is what would you do? How far will you go? Is it fair to end the season off?
I loved the ending with Rhaenyra's crabby face.
Right. So
I am okay with it because I think that this is an exciting. I mean, we have to wait a long time to watch the next season. Mm-hmm. And I love this. I think it's perfect because we're all saying, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen with the Greens? What's going to happen with the Blacks? Who's going to make the first move? And that's all we get is a little taste. But it's going to be momentous. Yes. And so this whole season has been so small, mm-hmm. And focused on the family. Mm-hmm. It hasn't been big battles. So I appreciate that this season was just that. Yeah.
And what I think this showed, and I'm going to kind of counteract what I was just said about, waiting for the next thing to drop. But I think this show is at its best when it operates not necessarily as a giant fantasy series the way that Rings of Power works, right? That, to me, is fantasy, not necessarily at its finest, but it is a clear example of what fantasy is. Mm-hmm. This, to me, House of the Dragon, works well when it's specifically focused on the family dynamic.
Yes.
It almost plays out like a family drama as opposed to a fantasy series.
Oh.
See what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
And I like that is what works for me the most when, we played it at the top of our episode when Daemon does his, he starts choking out Rhaenyra. That to me is one of the most exciting parts of this episode. Not because I'm banana land, but because
I feel like you need a different word because exciting to me often feels like the connotation is good.
No, exciting can be bad and good, right?
I know.
So, but it's exciting in a sense that the same way the scene between Luke and Aemond works, that too is exciting because you don't know what's going to happen. And that's when you have a good scene. Because when you have a good scene, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen. And you don't know. You're just waiting for the thing to unfold. That's when the show is in the driver's seat, mm-hmm. and the viewer is along for the ride. Yes. As opposed to the viewer being like, yeah, okay, we're going to do this. And the show, the opposite of what I'm saying is when the show reacts. And the show does something because that's what the fans want, or that's because that's the next logical step in a storytelling, map, mm-hmm. right? No, absolutely not. You want that thing to come out of nowhere, and you want that thing to guide the viewer and push the viewer, as opposed to the viewer bringing you along and pulling it along. So it's exciting because of the dynamic shared between the two characters. And both examples of it being Aemond and Luke, and also Rhaenyra mm-hmm. and Daemon, mm-hmm. right? We got to the point with Rhaenyra and Daemon where it's like you feel like Daemon's a good guy and you can kind of trust him and he's been doing all these good things. And then all of a sudden he reminds you, nope, no, we're not there yet. So I guess my whole point is, as a family drama, and if we're looking at Rhaenyra as the main character, the ending of where she begins as opposed to where she ends. She begins as a person who is just this free-spirited young kid who doesn't care about family, doesn't care about the whole thing, would rather ride dragons, and doesn't want to be the mom sitting in the castle, pumping out babies all day. Mm-hmm. Where she ends is she is the mom. She has pumped out babies. She lost a child. And not only that, she has to run this kingdom. She has to overcome all of this stuff. And in the middle of all that, we have the pregnancy. And then at the end of it, she loses another child because she ordered that child to go do the thing.
Yeah.
She ends in a place of, I'm no longer going to be patient. This is going to be the end of it. Mm-hmm. I think thematically the end works if that's what you expect it to be. If you expect more out of it, the ending leaves more to be desired. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay. My great, though, is, of course, as I said at the top of our episode, Mary, the bookends. Mm-hmm. Viserys himself said, the Targaryens do not control the dragons. It is an illusion. Mm-hmm. And we get a major slap in the face when we realize, holy crap, it's not just words. Mm-hmm. He's right. Mm-hmm. Both dragons are doing what they want to do, despite their riders telling them to do the opposite. Mm-hmm. Luke's dragon does the thing that it wants to do. It
wants to fly away.
It starts to fly away, but then he does its own. The dragon does its own thing and starts to burn. It tries to protect itself and burn Vhagar, and the whole, which makes sense.
Yes,
and then Vhagar gets pissed. And it's like, no, screw you. Mm-hmm. It's lunchtime.
Yes,
and that's the end. Mm-hmm. And both humans are trying to prevent both dragons from doing that thing, and there is no control over these dragons.
Agreed.
Who knows if they're, if they have their own agendas, if they have, and this is something that I think is kind of underplayed within the framework of the story. These dragons are going to do what they want, when they want, if they want, how they want, and when they want it. And we're all just kind of, again, we're all there for the ride.
Yes.
And we think that it's going to go one way. And it absolutely does not, because these creatures are able to have their own will. Mm-hmm. So it lends a little bit more danger to not just them being war pieces or being the thing that Daenerys comes across at, King's Landing, mm-hmm. or Aemond climbs up and decides to tease Luke with. No. There are things that are going to happen outside of everybody's control. And now they have to, what is the effect going to be when Aemond goes home and says, Vhagar did the thing? I didn't want to do the thing, but he put him in a position to do the thing, right? So mm-hmm. there's a whole nother level of danger here that we're going to have to consider outside of the dragons just being a pawn of war, being a vehicle. They're not just a tank, right? Tanks don't just gain sentience and start shooting big bullets, right? Mm-hmm. This is a thing, and I love the fact that the show made it a point at the very beginning to tell you this is an illusion. We all should have known right then and there that the war may not necessarily be started by the humans, but by the dragons themselves.
Very cool.
We should have known that right then and there. All right, you ready for the small council feedback?
Sure am.
Let's do it.
His Grace has many cares. He entrusts some small matters to us that we might lighten the load.
We are the lords of small matters here.
All right, Marvin, we got a lot of voicemails.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to go through them. Because it's the finale, and this is the thing that we do at Mary and Blake Media, we normally say one voicemail, that's what you get. 90 seconds. However, for finales, we break the rule. Because everybody has a thing to say, and everybody deserves to say the thing. So there are some people here that have a couple of voicemails, and we're just going to let it ride. You ready? Mm-hmm. All right.
Hi, Mary and Blake. This is Jan from Albany, Oregon.
Hi, Jan.
Longtime listener, first-time caller.
All right.
About episode 10 of House of the Dragon, I give this 5+++ flames. I loved it. My good was Aemond's blue sapphire eye. I almost wondered if that stone was the same one that Lord John Grey winds up with. It was beautiful. My bad was another torturous birth scene.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they're trying to present this as women's burden. They're part of battling, but I don't know. It just was a little much. Very sad. And my best, even though it was a sad outcome, that dragon scene, that air fight, that was just awesome. And I was so glad that we could actually see it this time. That's all for now. Love your show. Sorry this program's ending for the season.
I know.
Take care.
Thank you, Jan. Mary, there's a couple of things that Jan brings up that I want to talk about. One, it's the air battle started off dark because of the rain and the whipping winds and everything. But then it moves above the clouds into the light. And I think that was done on purpose. I think that was done so that there could be absolutely no confusion that Luke is DED dead.
Agreed.
And that his dragon absolutely dead.
Yes, but big chunks are left to find.
Right. But nevertheless, if they had done that in the doc, that would be a thing that would lead the entire fandom to be like, wait, is he dead? Is he not dead? What's the deal? And blah, 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 you know, and I think that was really important for that. But at the same time, I thought the imagery from the fight scene, especially when you see Luke's dragon underneath Vhagar.
Yeah, that was so cool.
That was a legitimately beautiful moment in the show. And it reminded me of the scene with Daenerys when she walks out from the Red Keep and Drogon's wings are behind her and it lifts up.
Yes, that was beautiful.
It was reminiscent of that, though different. And that kind of imagery is excellent stuff because it tells you everything you need to know in one shot, that this is no competition whatsoever.
Agreed.
And it gives you size and perspective and of what's to come. Excellent stuff. Truly, truly, truly excellent. All right, let's get to the next one.
Hi, Mary and Blake. It's Brittany from Rhode Island.
Hi, Brittany.
I'm giving this episode 4.95 flames. A great episode. I'm not ready for this season to be over. I'm going to try my hand at a GBG. My good was Corlys and Rhaenys. I just loved their dynamic. He realized how wrong he was for basically abandoning his family for all those years. He needed to step it up. That smirk from Rhaenys when Corlys gave Rhaenyra their full support was priceless. I think her and Matt Smith must get together and practice their wonderful silent acting. My bad was the lack of content warning for the birth scene. I understand the scene itself was necessary and was a bookend to Emma's horrific birth scene in the premiere. Just felt a warning would have served many of the viewers. My other bad was Daemon jumping to the conclusion that Viserys was murdered by the Greens. I'm sorry, did he not remember his face was half gone and he was barely functioning when he last saw him? My great Queen Rhaenyra! Emma Darcy was absolutely phenomenal the whole episode from start to finish. Watch out, Green. The Queen of Dragons is coming for you. Can't wait for next season.
Yay!
Yeah, you know, that scene where Daemon crowns Rhaenyra is spectacular. And he announces her for the first time, also spectacular. And I like that it is I'm not sure if this was a direct reference, but it certainly echoes what Daemon did for his brother by recrowning him with that same exact crown.
Yes.
Right? And then kneeling and doing the whole thing. I'm not sure if that's directly, like intentional, but it certainly feels like it.
Well, and you love it because, of course, that's his crest as well. The three-headed dragon.
Yeah.
So for him to be holding it and looking at it and saying, all right, it's still not mine.
Yeah.
But I'll give it to the right person.
I love that he takes that moment, that beat to look at it and say, and just consider it, because you can tell what's going on in his brain.
Yeah.
And that it helps build up to the scene between the two later on when he chokes her. Again, do I agree with what the action is? Of course not. But it makes for good television because of all the things that are swirling in Daemon's head at that moment. And having said that, Brittany's reaction to Daemon and how he just kind of jumped to the conclusion that they killed Viserys. Well, to me, that speaks more to his character. That actually shows you that it's a well-written character because you can make that leap and you can say, yes, he would do that.
Yes.
He would absolutely. Maybe because he wants the war. Maybe because he's excited by the war. Maybe because he's just ready. Maybe he wants to lay the blame. Maybe he sees the bad in all of it. All of these things are possible and they're within reason for that particular character. So I'm not saying that, Brittany, you're wrong. I'm saying it's well written enough to the point where you can make that kind of decision and you can make that kind of conclusion about Daemon and still have it be fair to say. So that's that. All right, you ready for the next one?
Sure am.
All right, let's do it.
Hey guys, it's Afreen.
Hey, Afreen.
Just finished up the season finale, and oh boy, what an episode. My heart just goes out to Rhaenyra, who apparently could not catch a break at any point. Lost her dad, 2 kids, and the crown in a day. That was tough, but she just had such character and tenacity, and I think you could see that from how she really earned Rhaenys' respect. And anytime Rhaenys looked at her with a warm smile, it just melted my heart because I was like, oh, it's so lovely. I am obviously really annoyed at Aemond, who apparently was taking the piss and didn't want to kill Viserys, but then it all got out of hand, and now we have a war on our hands because obviously Rhaenyra is going to be well, her son freaking died, so the dragons are coming for you. Daemon, slightly confused by his behavior of choking Rhaenyra, but as you guys touched on, anything Daemon does is actually believable because his character is so chaotic. What else? Basically, we've just got a big old war coming, haven't we?
Sure do.
It's been a great season, and actually, I'm a fan of the time jumps.
Oh, looks like she got cut off there.
Big old war.
It looks like we got a big old war coming.
Sure do.
Afreen, like I said before, you can come and just narrate my life.
Yes.
At any time of your choosing. I'll pay you whatever amount of money you want to be paid. Just come narrate me at all times. Mary, she brings up a great point of why do you think Daemon chokes Rhaenyra?
Because Daemon is still unhinged. And we all have to keep this in mind, because for the most part, he's been nice stepdad Daemon and, hanging out and by her side and crowning her. But there is still some fire in him. And I think that it's important for us to be reminded of this because we haven't seen it in a while. And Daemon loves to fight.
Interesting. Well, it's because he made his bones on fighting, right? He finally became his own thing when he actually took it under his own. He took control of his own life by killing the crab feeder, right? And by the way, finally the crab feeder and the stepstones and everything, it actually shows its relevance completely in this episode when Lord Corlys says, hey, I finally did it with the stepstones. We're in full control of it, and we can actually prevent the Greens from receiving any kind of help and aid from the sea. So it all ties back to that moment, which is really good stuff. It's not just a hurdle that we thought it was just for the sake of Daemon. It's a thing that actually plays out later on. However, my feeling on this with Daemon is you're right, Mary. He's got some issues. And he actually kind of reminds me, and I know you're not going to get this reference, Mary, but for people who are listening and watch the show, it reminds me of Homelander in the show The Boys, where it's Homelander in The Boys is like this awful character, just an awful dude. But there are things that happen with him where you're like, wait, I kind of feel bad for him. Like, I kind of understand why he acts the way that he does. And you're like, maybe he isn't as bad as we think that he is. And then all of a sudden he turns around and does this awful thing again. You're like, oh, wait, no.
Yeah, I think we just need to be reminded of it, because here we are, we're going into battle, which is something that Daemon loves. And now his stepson was just murdered. Mm-hmm. He thinks his brother was murdered. So I think we need to be reminded that there is a beast in Daemon as well.
Sure.
And what I think is really cool with Daemon is that as much as we saw the children, Luke and Aemond not be able to control their dragons, Daemon's dragon almost reads his mind.
Oh, yeah. Without even prompt, he just shows up. He's like, I'm going to give you a choice.
Yes. And it's just, and I feel the same way almost with Rhaenyra and her dragon when Otto comes over. And I think the amount of time that these adults have been able to spend with their dragons and bond with them, the more in sync they truly are.
Sure.
So it's going to be interesting to see how the adult dragon riders are in battle versus their younger counterparts. But also keeping in mind that Daemon is devilish, a bit, and he is capable of doing things that we can't believe.
Yep.
No matter who you are. And so as he goes into battle, I think we're going to see more of that side come through. So I think they needed to show us some nicer aspects of Daemon so that we kind of root for him, but I think he's going to do some nasty things.
And also, let's consider too,
I wouldn't put it past him to kill a child after what just happened to Luke.
Oh, I don't think I'd put it past him either.
And so, we've seen him smush his wife's brain and do all these other terrible things. But I'm just saying, we have to know that that's within him.
Yes. And maybe it takes certain things to bring it out of him. And I think in this particular case, it's his insecurity about his brother that brings it out of him. In that Rhaenyra says the thing about the prophecy. And as soon as she brings up the prophecy,
he gets jealous.
I think he gets jealous, and I think he doesn't even know how to react. And of course, there's also this other.
Why didn't he say, "Fine, tell me"? Why did she not tell him?
Well, because what he says to her is, "My brother thought himself a dreamer," and you could tell that he was angry about that. My brother would do anything he wanted to do to make sure that his rule and his reign were, validated and worked well for him. So he would come up with all these things to make it sound like he was the person that was in charge. And you can tell that aspect of Viserys' rule really upset Daemon, because no matter what Daemon did, it could never compete with Viserys and what he considered himself to be. And people just followed along with it. And it's like when Will Ferrell in Zoolander says, "Am I the only one taking crazy pills?" That's what I feel like Daemon is thinking. And then now his wife is the ruler, and yet here she is doing the same exact freaking thing that his brother did. Not being decisive necessarily about going to war, trying to pacify everybody, and quoting this prophecy. He is just much more practical than what Viserys was. And I think that's what angers him. Again, I don't necessarily agree, but the jealousy of it all, when she says he didn't tell you, oh my God. I thought that I was a reasonable next in line person, obviously until Rhaenyra shows up. I was going to be the thing, and my brother took me seriously and did think that I was going to be the next in line and that I could do the job. And then when she quotes that, or when she quotes rather, or cites this prophecy, and he doesn't know about it, that takes everything that he thought about his brother and everything he thought his brother thought about him and just just blows it all up.
Yeah.
So I could see how that would happen. All right, you ready for the next one?
Sure am.
Hi, this is Queen Bee Angela.
Hello,
giving
Angela.
Comments on House of Dragon Ep 10. I'm giving this 4.8 flames. Here are some general thoughts. First, the last shot made me say out loud, they have woke the dragon. Don't screw with the mama bear dragon. She's going to unleash hell in season 2.
Yep.
Although I have to commend her on her reserve to consider all options and originally trying to put Kingdom first. Second, Daemon choking out Rhaenyra was very upsetting. I thought she was his true love. Is this just a power grab then? He doesn't care about her? Not sure what we're supposed to think of that. Mm-hmm. Third, Lord Baratheon. Damn, that seed really is strong. Talk about some super sperm. Can't deny Robert being descended from that guy. And he has that Baratheon bluster too.
Yep.
Fourth, another wretched birth scene. Come on. 3 in a 10-ep season, and why would she not let people help her? And what were the flashes of the dragon eyes? Was that her symbolically calling on her inner dragon, or was it a supernatural thing? Fifth, I was a bit surprised. Otto Hightower, king with terms, thought he wanted to kill them all. Was it a peace offering with a knife held behind his back? I don't know. And lastly, I see I'm almost out of time. I'm going to go to the second message.
All right. Well, Angela does have a second message, but I do want to clarify something. The way that I interpreted the birth, why she didn't want anybody to help her, is because she has a specific recollection of what her mother went through. And when people helped her, they ended up cutting the baby out of her, and her mother ended up dying. So, like, it's like, no, I'm going to do this myself, and I'm going to make this come out so that, because not only do I want to live, I was just given the thing that I wanted my entire life and that I was meant to have. Here it is. And now I am about to die, apparently, because of all this. Like, no shot, man. So, like, no, I think that's the deal. My other thought about the flashing dragon was the baby was not a fully formed baby. Like it wasn't like it seemed like it didn't. It wasn't. It almost reminded me of when Daenerys gave birth, and they were like, "Oh, what came out of you was not human born or whatever it was." Mm-hmm. The same thing felt that way to me with this baby, and that to me, the dragon is representative of a dragon within her that's trying to come out that isn't human. That isn't. It's a monster in and of itself. That is how it felt. And I liked the flashes of the dragon because she's so tied to dragon imagery and her family is so tied to dragon iconography. That would make sense for those flashes to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's her dragon that we see the flashes of. You know, it's a grown dragon. It's not a baby dragon. Because at first I thought like, oh, maybe this is meant to be like the soul, the essence of this baby dying and screaming. But then the more I looked at it, I was like, that's a grown dragon. That's, what's her dragon's name? Syrax, I want to say. That is her dragon. It's that kind of golden colored dragon that she flies later in the episode. And as I said, we see kind of the psychic connection between the adults with their dragons. So I actually took it as Syrax, who Daemon had said, earlier, she had just laid 3 eggs and stuff. So I kind of took it as like, she's a mother too. And she is mourning in pain with Rhaenyra as well.
Yeah. And is she giving, is there enough of a connection there where Syrax is helping Rhaenyra get through?
That's who she has. She doesn't have other people, because I agree with you. I think she was afraid, like, if I let people help me, they might do a C-section, I'm going to end up dying. Yeah. So I need to do this on my own because I need to trust myself. But the other person who is here with me in my head is my dragon.
Yep. All right. Let's get to the next part for Angela.
Hi, this is Queen Bee Angela with part 2. Sorry, Marion Blake, but this is my one and only time of sending in a message, so forgive me. For lastly, the Dance of Dragons, as soon as Rhaenyra was sending her sons as messengers, I was screaming at the TV. Because Rhaenys said to her that the Greens are coming for Rhaenyra and her children. So why are you sending these kids out alone? Not great, Bob. And Baby Monk, who I adored, in the Last Kingdom is now one nasty one-eyed piece of crap. I just want to rip that smirk right off his face. Talk about night and day roles. And holy crap, Vhagar was huge compared to little wee Arrax. Yet, little Arrax showed a lot of courage spitting dragon fire in the face of Vhagar. But wee Arrax, just like the song says, you don't tug on Superman's cape. And a very pissed off Vhagar crunches Arrax in half. But first we get this very serene moment with Luke above the clouds. I really like that juxtaposition. Curious that for the first time, you see Aemond looking very regretful and worried. P.S. The painted table was bad freaking ass. Mary Blake, thanks again for another great podcasting show. Really looking forward to season 2. Bye.
Thanks, Angela.
Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. Very nice. Very, very good. Yeah, man. I loved all of the imagery from the whole Aemond thing, and I loved his intensity in that scene when he's like, no, you're gonna give me your eye. Like, take it out. Here we go. Good stuff.
Give it to my mother.
All right. Oh, let's get the next one.
Hi, Miriam Blake. It's Glow from Methuen.
Your cousin from Boston.
Of House of the Dragon. My good was Sir Eric bringing her father's crown to Rhaenyra on Dragonstone. My bad is Daemon. He really pissed me off this episode. He wanted to fight more than support his wife. But I have to admit, he did have the best lines and read Otto properly. He choked his wife. I wanted to reach into my TV and stab that twig of a man, and I'm not a violent person. But coming from an abusive household where my father did that to my mom, it really triggered me. I'm sure it triggered others. I'm sure there'll be a lot of pushback from fans to the showrunners and writers. And my great was the VFX team again. Even in that rain, we could see the fight in the air between the two dragons and the cool way the war table illuminated when they lit the candles. And I love Rhaenys, but she had no tact at all when she told Rhaenyra her father was dead. I've heard of women giving birth themselves, actually pulling the baby out of themselves, but this was so sad. That baby girl, Visenya, was too premature. Poor thing. Aemond is truly a sadistic young man, goes to show what hardly any parenting and much less love and support will do to a child. All of Alicent's kids never stood a chance.
Oh, we got one more. We're gonna get to it. Hold on.
Hi guys, it's me again. Just a little bit. The ending kind of turned into a horror story instead of a thriller. The dragons weren't listening to Aemond and Luke because a dragon is not a slave.
Yep, love it.
See you next time.
Love it. Great stuff. Good callback to Game of Thrones. Mary, I think the show is certainly intent on referencing its own mythos, but it's also referencing and calling back to itself at the beginning of the season. I mean, we have that same meetup once again between Otto and Daemon on the bridge. Instead, this time of Otto being there in protection of Viserys and Rhaenyra, he is there in protection of Alicent. And what a boss move for Rhaenyra to land on the other side.
Just like she did last time.
Land on the other side.
Remember, because Otto went.
Right.
And Rhaenyra didn't listen, and she came up and flew, and she solved the problem, and Daemon tossed the egg at her.
Yep. But instead of, again, stepping in front of Otto, she walks through the complement of people.
She takes his pin.
And then she takes his pin. Like, so, again, it's just referencing itself and bringing the story full circle, just in a different perspective. The same thing happens too in this scene where Otto is handed the page that was ripped out of the book that both Alicent and Rhaenyra were studying when they were children. And that page is there as a reminder that they were both once friends, and there's no need to have any blood spilled. There's nothing here. Do you think, honestly, that Rhaenyra was tempted by this? And do you see Otto's point? Like, do you agree or disagree with the terms that he set and that there's no need for bloodshed? Let's all just move on with our lives.
Yes, but I don't want to use the word tempted. I think a good word, we've seen Rhaenyra be a patient ruler just within these past 2 days. Rhaenys acknowledges that of her. She's patient and she's weighing all options. And as I said, I don't want to use the word tempted because that makes it sound like you're salivating over something. But on the flip side, she's not brash like Daemon is.
Sure.
To cast judgment and to make a decision. And she knows she could say, give me 24 hours. Question for you though. What was the page that Otto handed her from Alicent? I know it was the book that she ripped out.
Yeah.
But like, what was the significance of that picture?
No, it was just the page of the histories that they were reading together as children.
Yeah, like what?
And I don't remember specifically what the page said, but it was like Rhaenyra ripped it out.
Yes.
And, the whole thing. So like, I think I don't think that the content of the page itself or the picture itself was necessarily.
I wish that there was content to it then, because
I'm sure that there was.
Remember that one picture from a book that she ripped out when she was 14.
Well, I mean, if it was that big a deal.
I don't think it was that big of a deal. She ripped in, she gave it to her. So I would love to know, like, is this, like you said, we just need to rewatch that episode. Like, is it something about a mother?
Yeah, I don't remember what the specific content was.
So that would be interesting.
Now, what I find interesting, Marvin, about actually a couple things interesting. First, I can't wait to hear your thoughts on both. First, Rhaenys never actually bows. She never kneels in front of Rhaenyra. She still stands. I need your take on that.
Like when she's crowned?
Yeah, like when she's crowned and Rhaenys just still stands. I need your take on that. Second, I need your take on is the fact that Rhaenyra ends up sending both of her sons with no bodyguard, with no knight, no nothing. And like, I understand it would be kind of hard to like send a knight along to tag along, but you're sending your kids alone into the world in what I imagine is a relatively hostile environment, given the fact that Rhaenys just said, hey, the Greens are coming for you. I need your take on that as well. So let's first start with Rhaenys and not kneeling, and then do the kids.
I'm cool with her not kneeling. Because at first, so like when she first comes into the magical stone table room, she doesn't kneel. That's fine. You're her aunt.
Yeah.
It's totally cool. And then when Rhaenyra is crowned, a couple people didn't kneel, and they were in the back, and they were soldiers. Like the close-up soldiers kneeled.
Yep.
But in the back where Rhaenyra was, they didn't kneel. And I thought, if Rhaenyra's not the only person not kneeling, I'm okay with it. First off, maybe her legs are sore.
Sure, fair enough.
Second off, she's in all that armor.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's difficult to kneel. Third off, she's going to do what she's going to do.
Yep.
And is anyone going to stop her? No. She is the matriarch right now of this family.
Mm-hmm.
She's probably got arthritis in her knees.
If she kneels down, she ain't getting back up again.
Let's be real. Give her a break.
Yeah.
Do I care? No. Does Rhaenyra seem to care? No.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I wanted to get your take on that.
I see it as, this is also my crown. Like, Rhaenyra is getting this for us women.
Yes.
And she's my young niece.
Mm-hmm.
And I know a heck of a lot more than her. I think it's more when she watches how Rhaenyra holds herself as queen, that's when she believes, okay, she is a queen.
Yeah, this is a thing. Like, this is, okay, yep, I get it. And then I need your take on Rhaenyra sending her children out into the world on their dragons with no escorts. And I guess my ultimate question, Mary, is that just lazy writing?
No.
How come?
I mean, I feel like when you show up with a dragon, you don't need an escort generally.
Fair.
And probably that's how it's been for Rhaenyra and for Daemon and everybody else when they've traveled before. Plus, she was going to people who she thought of as allies, not jerks. Baratheon. Jerk.
That's a little bit of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
Yeah.
Hashtag spoilers. So yeah, I think there's a lot happening in this episode, and having it all come together the way that it did, and then allowing the story to go where it goes and have it be personalized, and ending on a scene that is wordless, and Daemon telling Rhaenyra about her son's death after essentially losing her crown, losing her father, losing a baby, now losing a son. All of these things are all culminating in this one moment.
Yep.
And it's completely wordless, no dialogue whatsoever, and it's shot in almost a silhouette style, which I love. And then the turnaround of Rhaenyra. Couple of things. One, did you like it? And two, is everything okay, do you think, between Daemon and Rhaenyra?
I think everything's okay.
Yeah.
I do.
Why do you say that?
I mean, he put the crown on her head. And he did that whole throat strangulation thing, and he's crazy. But now that she's in on war, oh my gosh. This is his happy moment.
Yes.
So, when before she was trying to be timid, now she's not. Now she's going to be down for him to do his crazy stuff.
Yeah, and luckily he's gone down into the caves, or at least into the dragon pit, and gotten Vermithor, who was King Jaehaerys's dragon, which to me sounds like a really big deal.
Hold on. So in the dragon pit, when he's singing,
Yes.
he's not singing to his own dragon.
No, he's
not singing to the egg-laying dragon.
By all accounts, this is King Jaehaerys's dragon, and it seems like they're trying to add one more dragon to their stable of dragons. And
why not?
And by the way, let's do a quick dragon count here.
Okay.
The Greens have 3 adult dragons. Aemond has Vhagar. Okay, we know that. Aegon has Sunfire, and Helena has Dreamfire.
Neither of which we've really met. We just saw them flying away.
We've seen Vhagar, and we've seen Sunfire and Dreamfire. Yeah, okay. The Blacks have Rhaenyra's Syrax, Daemon's Caraxes, and Rhaenys' Meleys. And then the boys, they have Vermax, who belongs
Jace.
to Jace.
Okay.
And R.I.P. Arrax.
R.I.P. Arrax!
Who once belonged to Luke, and Caraxes, who belongs to Joffrey. Baela sits on Moondancer. And
who we haven't met.
We have not met Moondancer yet. Daemon actually ends up saying that Sea Smoke is still on Driftmark. And then we have...
Sea Smoke is Corlys's, or Sea Smoke is Laenor's?
That was Laenor's.
Okay.
And then Silverwing and Vermithor are on the Dragonmount, which not claimed, which is in Dragonstone.
Oh, so they're neighbors.
Yes. So they have all of those dragons, and more to that point, they have some more dragons brewing in the Dragonmount. Which was just, they were just born.
Yeah, but those are going to be baby dragons. What are you going to do, wear them as a slipper?
Wear them as a slipper.
We know how small they are because of Game of Thrones.
So it's true.
It's a cat.
It's not even a cat at first,
no.
really.
And they can maybe burp a smoke flame. Like, no.
But they will get bigger eventually.
Yes, but if we take, for example... Arrax's size versus Vhagar's size. And we know that
difference.
Luke is 14.
Yes.
So he was raised with that dragon, the egg hatched, he was a baby, you're welcome. So we can assume that Arrax in the show was around 14 years old.
That's fair.
I do not care if you have baby eggs. You might as well bring cats to this battle.
Might as well bring chicken eggs.
For Daemon to be like, and we've got this. Who cares, Daemon? I'm sorry. You're bringing a water gun to a real battle.
Not even a water gun. You're
a water balloon.
You're bringing slippers to a water
exactly
to a battle.
Daemon. And then we have all these eggs. Yup. How long do you think this is going to take?
Oh, man. That is so funny.
Multiple seasons worth, Mary. Maybe we will see these baby eggs turn into something.
So,
and if people just keep having incest and having more blonde people, we won't even know. We'll just say, okay.
So one of our listeners, Gloria, actually gave us the translation of the song that Daemon sings to Vermithor in the cave. By the way, loved this.
Vermithor, who is Rhaenyra' granddad and Daemon's dad.
Correct.
Cool.
Correct. Or
is it his granddad?
Well, Jaehaerys, right? So Jaehaerys
was Viserys' dad?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
So Jaehaerys' dragon is Vermithor, and Daemon sings in Valyrian to Vermithor to bring him,
Vermithor hasn't been ridden
in a long time.
In 2 decades.
The song that he sings is Fire Breather, Winged Leader, but 2 heads to a third sing from my voice. The fires have been spoken and the price has been paid. With blood magic, with words of flame, wit clear eyes to bind the 3. To you I sing as one we gather, and with 3 heads we shall fly as we were destined beautifully and freely.
So who are the 3 heads? Is he picturing the adult ones? His, Rhaenyra's? Because they've already got Maelys.
Yes, well, the 3 heads is
the Targaryen crest.
The Targaryen crest, right? And by the way, if you heard it, they have already the Hightowers changed the Targaryen crest to go from black to green.
I don't care.
Well, that's a big deal. That's like, hey, we got this American flag, but it's not red, white, and blue anymore. It's pink, purple, and yellow.
I haven't seen it.
Well, they had made mention of it, that it was coming to the ship bearing that sigil, the green with the 3 heads. It has it on its sails and it's coming up to Dragonstone.
Okay.
And that's how they knew that Otto Hightower was on its way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an interesting thing. It's odd how quickly something like that can change.
Do non-Targaryens and Valyrians, is that their name? No.
Valyrians? Yep, I gotcha.
Can any other house ride dragons?
I don't know. I mean, my assumption
now that Sir Eric is there, or Eric.
It's Eric. We got
Eric
clarification. Eric won.
Okay, Eric won. Now that Sir Eric is hanging out, can he get a dragon?
I mean,
he'd be pretty cool on a dragon.
It wouldn't suck.
I wouldn't send another 14-year-old on a dragon.
Oh, by the way, Mary, we missed something. Your dad.
Yeah.
We didn't do your dad segment.
That's why I was motioning to you phone.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, just for the listeners' benefit here, we've missed the segment.
I just thought that you've been wanting to talk forever, and that's why I'm like, hello, my dad's call.
All right, let's get to
my dad, who is sick right now.
Oh, wicked sick.
You can't tell him. Maybe you can tell him.
I don't know.
We're going to find out.
We haven't even listened to it
He was like, Mary, I don't feel good. I was like, you know what to do.
Do your job.
Swabby swab. So, Dad, if you're listening to this, we're thinking of you. We'll light a candle for you and Arrax.
What?
Wait, what?
Why are we lighting candles?
I don't know. Don't people do that? Like when they're like, I'm thinking about you. I don't really know. I don't even have real candles. I have wax melts. Whatever. We're thinking of you. People are sending their prayers from around the world. They're having their dragons fly in circles for you, Dad. This is what happens.
Lighting candles.
I don't know. I feel like that's what people do. My dad's into that stuff.
Sure.
I bet he lights candles. Dad, do you light candles?
Everybody lights candles.
No, but I feel like my dad who like goes and hangs out at Abby's.
Okay, fair.
He pretty much, last time he went to an Abbey, he pretty much gave me like an Airbnb review. These people, they got the best stuff, great food. I bet they light candles there. So I'm just saying, Dad, we're thinking of you.
All right, let's get to what has become, seriously, a legitimate favorite segment across all of Mary and Blake Media. For all of our listeners that listen to this episode, to this show, this has become, I think, one of our most popular segments. It might just be behind a different perspective in the Potterverse, and maybe,
which I cannot wait to start back up,
and maybe In or Out on This Is Us 2. In or Out on This Is Us 2 was so much fun. I loved In or Out.
That was awesome.
All right. Here we go.
Hi, this is Mary's dad talking about the final season episode of House of Dragons. My gosh, poor...
By the way, did you hear the person coughing in the background?
That's my stepmom.
Just
poor thing. She so far is negative. My dad, he's got a little bit of
a hoarseness to him.
This is probably before he started to really feel sick.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Sorry, we'll get back to it.
Poor thing.
Princess Rhaenyra doesn't get a break, losing 2 children in one episode. I couldn't figure out, once she heard the news about what the Greens had done usurping her throne, and she immediately went into having a miscarriage, I couldn't figure out why she wouldn't let the ladies help her. That really confused me. But she is one tough cookie. And it was something that she seemed to be following her father's footsteps and trying to keep the peace. She said, I don't want to rule over a pile of ashes. She was trying to see if there was some way to avoid war. I was very surprised that she let her sons go off to be emissaries, to try to recruit the other houses. And who doesn't hate that kid Aemond after he and Vhagar were playing with Luke and his dragon, but I believe it was accidentally killed him. I had no idea the dragons were of such different sizes, so that was pretty amazing. But the best part, I thought, was the final shot where the princess turned around from the fireplace. It was like, okay, I'm ready for war now. That really was impressive, the way she was able to communicate.
Oh, it looks like he got cut off here.
Did he do a second one?
No, he did not do a second.
Dad, if it ever cuts you off again, you just call back.
Just call. You get as many calls as you want. That's how we'll break the rules just for that segment.
Yeah.
But Mary,
well, we already touched upon his question about why Rhaenyra didn't let people help her.
Correct. And we also
In my opinion.
we did touch upon dragon size. So I think we're in good shape here. To be honest, there isn't much more I think to delve into because I've exhausted my notes. Although I mean, it would be fair to go over the plot mechanics, and this is why I say the show really had an opportunity to get real boring real quick, but it afforded us certain information downloads that I think were interesting enough to keep us going through all of the politicking. You know, for example, we talk about exposition dumps, and when somebody says, you know, oh, Mary, X, Y, and Z, and you say, yes, I know X, Y, and Z, of course, I know, and then they continue to expand on X, Y, and Z.
As that.
But what I'm saying is they're just repeating information.
You're yelling, Blake. I don't know why you're so loud.
I don't know.
I don't know either, man. You're just very passionate.
I am very passionate about exposition dumps.
Yeah.
Very, very passionate.
Just calm down a little. I'm not that excited about it. I'm right now going to say, I know.
I know that you're excited about it, Blake. Yes, I know.
Friends, he's yelling at me. He's like 2 feet away, looking at my face.
So, but there's a lot of the times what happens is characters will say something that each of them already know, for the sake of the viewer, to catch you up in information that the writers just simply don't know how else to give you the information download. There are ways around this, whether it is the good old Jurassic Park the Dino DNA, Mr. DNA.
Love it.
Or you can literally have someone show up to something and say, teach me. Tell me what I don't know.
What did I miss?
And that's exactly what Rhaenyra does with Daemon when she says, what is the status of things?
Love it.
And Daemon goes into this whole explanation. So he is explaining it to Rhaenyra, but also at the same time giving us, the viewer, the lay of the land. And from that information, we can glean the fact that they have more dragons. Dragonstone can be defended with a small amount or a small complement of men. They have about 300 men in total, but the problem that they have is they need to go, if they want to stop the Greens, they have to go to King's Landing, and they need to form a plan. In that plan, they have to contact other houses to make sure that their alliances are through and through, that the oaths that they have taken are still valid. And the families that they are speaking about are the Masseys, the Stauntons, and the Bar Emmons. Also, the Tullys, who were great friends of Viserys, and her mother was an Arryn. Also, they need the Baratheons, and they need the Starks. So
first off, Baratheons can't read.
Yeah, that's a cool bit of information that we get out of that scene as well.
That guy got mad and embarrassed quick.
So we have, and then we have the Arryns of the Vale, and we have the Tullys, like I said. So it's just, this is a way that the show, I think, can start to open up its large and expansive world to us, because we all are all familiar with the Game of Thrones world. We know all the families. We know all of the different houses. We know all the different religions. We know all the different practices. Yet, at the same time, House of the Dragon has stayed pretty on point and pretty localized to just the Targaryens and the Valyrians. Mm-hmm. Do you think that this is going to be a benefit for House of the Dragon to open up its gates here and allow more of the world building into its...
Oh, do we have to deal with more people? I just figured these people out. Half of them look the same.
That's true. So do you think it's going to be a bad thing that it opens up, or do you think the show is just going to continue on with its narrowed scope?
I don't know. I'd say narrow scope.
Yeah.
There might be a family here or there, but really it's the House of Dragon, so we want to hang out with dragon people.
Fair enough. I had seen, Mary, some fan fiction, if you will, or at least fan casting, because there is mention of a Stark and that Jace is going to see the Stark family. And there has been some fan casting that Alexander Daemon is going to play Cragen Stark.
Oh my God, please.
And Alexander Daemon, for those of you who are not of the initiated, he plays Uhtred, son of Uhtred, in the main character in The Last Kingdom. Mm-hmm. How I would love this casting, especially since we already have Aemond, as played by Ewan Mitchell, who played Osferth or Baby Monk in The Last Kingdom.
They could basically just be like, oh, you have British accents?
Right.
You don't have a job right now? Because your show's done,
yeah,
and your movie's done. Cool.
How great would that be?
I love it.
It would probably be almost inappropriate how much I would love that.
Yeah, probably.
Oh man! All right, Mary, do you have anything else that you would like to talk about for this episode, and anything else that you think would be pertinent to the viewing experience for this episode?
I just think it's really important to know that of these dragons, very few of them have seen war. You know, like Vhagar has seen war. Mm-hmm. Daemon's dragon has been at war because he was doing all that. But I don't think Rhaenyra's has. And I don't know if anybody else's dragons have been at war.
Yeah, I don't think so. So it'll be interesting to see how all that plays out.
Yeah.
Again, because as we had talked about in the earlier part of our episode.
Now, if Rhaenyra is smart, she and Jace are going to watch How to Train Your Dragon because they're going to learn the way to kill the big dragon is to actually spit a ball of fire in their mouth.
In the mouth.
And then it explodes in their mouth.
You also need someone to hit the eye with an axe.
Distract it and hit its eye. That's its weak spot. That is Vhagar's weak spot.
We all need a snot lout in our life.
Like, honestly, I mean, where are the books that tell you how to defeat a dragon? Where's the maester with that information?
Yeah.
I'll tell you where. Dragonstone.
Oh, absolutely.
So at least Daemon and Rhaenyra have that.
Yeah, it's
the people who need a washing machine. we will give you fresh clothes. They're pretty much Dobby the house elf. We will give you a sock if you tell us how to kill dragons.
You're a wizard,
And
Harry.
will they have problems with that? Is like their religion essentially dragons? And will this be something that they are actually against?
Interesting.
Only time will tell.
All right. So, Mary, I think we're both pretty clear on who we're rooting for and who is the bad guy. Well, maybe not.
The bad guy.
Who is the bad guy here that you just...
I don't have any bad guys for Team Black. I tell you that.
Interesting.
I'm on their team right now.
You
just killed Luke. I am done. I am done with Aemon.
I have a question, and that is, should we be rooting for either side of the family?
Sure.
Should we actually be rooting for Team Black, or should we actually be rooting for Team Green? Like, and not to say like one or the other.
For Rhaenyra, I am. I'm still Team Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
Now, am I bending a knee? I'm going to take Rhaenys' stance on this. Have some really cool hair, and just go on a vacation. She's like, whatever. I don't want to hang out with my husband. He's going to be in a boat. He's my husband who just came back from war and said, "You're right. I left for too long. Now wants to go back to war."
Well, no, he doesn't want to.
Yeah, he does.
No, he doesn't.
What is he going to do?
He said, "Well, we're out of this. We're out. We're done."
No, he said, "You've got our fleet princess, our queen."
Right, because Rhaenys says to him, "No, we have to do this."
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that she was just upset because he was at war all this time, and he's like, "All right, I'm going to be retired. I'm going to hang out.
Yeah,
we're going to get a cat, maybe start needlepoint." And then she's like, "Well, actually, I now want to go to war."
Right.
And they don't even go to war together. She's going to be flying in the skies, and he's going to be in the seas.
Yeah, man, that's his job. And that's her job.
You know what that means? She is excited to be away from him again.
Some alone time.
Yeah, she got used to having the bed by herself, not having to share the covers.
Yep.
She's like, oh, what the heck? I mean, I'm glad he's back, but he snores.
Yeah.
And now he's got this bum leg, so we have to get the bed that has the lift thing in the bottom to support his leg. To heck with that.
It's going to be an extra grand just for that bed.
Why don't you go back on the boat? Why don't you protect the seas?
You know what? You're most comfortable on the boat.
And I'll protect you from the sky.
I think you're your best version of you on the boat.
Yeah. And she actually has like this little Airbnb cottage on a cliffside where someone makes her fresh omelets every morning. She is pumped. That's what she's been waiting for. She doesn't have to be a drift mark anymore. Done with that.
She doesn't have to put the toilet paper on the thing anymore. She can just leave it right on the floor if she wants.
She could do whatever she wants. It's just her and her dragon.
Yep.
She's done. You're welcome, Blake.
Oh, man. Oh. All right. So, Mary, season 1 of House of the Dragon. What's your overall score for season 1? Of House of the Dragon, and 1 out of 5, where are you putting it?
Meaning what?
I mean, where 1 out of 5, what's your flame rating for the entire season?
A 4.5, 4.6.
Interesting.
I think they just overused women with difficult childbirth and stuff like that I think could have been done differently.
Yeah. For me, I would say the overall rating is, I'd probably give it the same rating, Mary. Yeah. I'd probably give it a 4.65. And it's not to say that it was bad or that it was great or it's just mediocre. I think, like I said on the Rings of Power, this was one giant prologue to what the real meat of the show is coming. Like, This is the giant setup for everything that happens after this. And everything that happens after this is what we're really here for. Right? Because from here on out, it is straight up war. Constantly. Until they figure it out, right? Until the war ends. And at which point, you'd probably imagine the show's over. So I enjoyed it. I think it needed to find its footing at the beginning of the season. I think it did find its footing, and I feel like we did turn a corner in terms of watching it and enjoying it. But just as a whole, I'd have to give it about a 4.65.
Yep.
It was good. I enjoyed it.
Agreed.
Wasn't the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
No.
But I can see how it could turn out to be that way.
Agreed.
All right. Anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I will not be the best thing of my life, but yes.
Well, no, but you could see how that, you could see how it could be.
I'm laughing because I listened just a smidge to the official House of the Dragon podcast.
Oh, okay.
And they don't say a single bad thing ever because they're sponsored by HBO. And, they're like, oh, the pacing and this and that and this and that. And yes, we are all fans of the show. We've watched this entire season, but I enjoy that we are not sponsored by a conglomerate and where we can share our feelings about this stuff, because I found it shocking that they didn't talk about the excessive time with the childbirth scene.
Yeah.
But they can't, because that's who's paying the bills.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, like, listen, there is a space for all kinds of podcasts, right? And there is a space to listen to the official podcast because they are more than likely going to have the most behind the scenes information coming straight from the sources themselves, which makes sense. However, you're right, Mary. It's like a giant ball washing contest.
Oh my gosh, can you not use that phrase?
What?
So gross.
I don't...
Like, where does it even come from? Do people wash other people's balls? Like, I'm not going to wash your legs, not going to wash your butt, not going to wash your penis. I'm just the ball scrubber. That's my job.
I don't know where it comes from. I just
Is it
know...
like athletic balls? Because the way you say it makes it sound like it's someone's private parts. It's just really weird, gross phrase.
All right, fine. I'll change the phrase. It's just looking through it through rose-colored glasses, no matter what.
Oh my God, so much better.
No matter what, you're going to see the best because that's what they want it to be. HBO wants it to be that way because you're right. They're keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
Right. And this is their thing. And there's a space for that because if somebody wants to just love House of the Dragon and just, shout from the mountaintops of how great it is at all times, awesome. Go do that, man. Like, that's cool on you.
Yeah.
However, I also think that there's space and room for podcasts that are also 100% negative at the same time. And then there's stuff in the middle, which I think we and probably most of the independent podcasts probably are, where we're going to tell you the good stuff.
We may not make the big money, but we're at least honest.
But we're going to give you an honest opinion. And I think what we're trying to do too at the same time is educate to the best of our ability about writing and about lighting and directing and why certain choices are made and why we think they are an interpretation of story and how those interpretations affect production and vice versa. And like, there's a whole litany of things that I think we go into that some other podcasts may not.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I personally, I don't listen to the official podcast because I don't want to just be told everything's great. It's like everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah, I don't want that. I want to hear a good old-fashioned, unbiased, objective analysis. So that's just me. All right. Anything else, Mary? Do you have a hot take for us for?
I do not have a
season
hot take.
2.
No, I don't.
I
mean, I think that Daemon. My hot take is I think Daemon's going to do something really bad to a kid. I think he is unhinged, and we are supposed to understand that. But now now Rhaenyra is going to be kind of okay with him being crazy.
All right, hot take for you. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Daemon dies next season.
Oh, that would be a pity.
That would be a pity. It would be a pity for the show,
Mm-hmm.
just because Matt Smith is freaking electric.
Agreed. Boogie, boogie, boogie.
That guy is fire. Pure fire what?
Did you not know what I just did?
Yeah, the electric slide.
Okay,
I know. Trust me.
Oh, okay.
That joke didn't hit me the way that I think you thought it would.
No, you obviously didn't get up.
No.
And do the full clap.
I hated the electric slide. It's the worst. All of those overplayed wedding songs, I'm out. I want nothing to do with them.
Yep, you probably also didn't go to like 8th grade dances and stuff.
No, I did. I absolutely did.
You probably were just like the mosh pitter person.
Nope, absolutely. Actually, I was the opposite.
Did you
was the one that was
eat
actually
the brownies.
I was the one that was actually out there having a good time and enjoying it with my friends.
To the electric slide.
No, absolutely not.
See, false. What kind of school did you go to?
I went to a public middle school.
You're not that young of a millennial that you guys didn't have the electric slide at every single school dance.
No. I told you I hate it because I always thought it was stupid. Just the same way the Macarena was stupid, and doing the chicken dance was stupid. It's just ridiculous. What are we all doing here?
Dancing, Blake. Attempting to dance,
and it's all this.
You know what? I'm going to send you to dragon flapping dance lessons. That's what's going to happen.
At least it'd be different.
Or the hop dance. Okay. You think that we're fools. Here are these preteens and teenagers doing the same dang thing. Chicken dance, the equivalent of the chicken dance was the dragon flap your wings at a wedding dance.
Oh, I don't know about that.
And then, the electric slide, it's the hop. The hop dance that you do at dinner.
Then we have that stupid to the left, to the right. Back one step.
Slide.
The cha-cha slide.
That was not our younger.
No, I know, but then
this
that
is where
song.
like our age discretion comes up.
What do you mean the discretion?
Like, well, I don't know. I just feel like you.
Marvin, you're like 6 months older than I am.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not, Blake. I'm 10.
10
10 months
sure.
and 2 days.
Sure, whatevs.
It has made me so much wiser.
Stats are for nerds.
Nope.
10 months.
I have a very different taste in music than you do. I have.
That's not true.
What was your favorite cereal growing up?
Frosted Flakes.
Okay. What does Tony the Tiger say?
They're great.
Okay. Maybe I'll let you pass.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
All right, let's wrap this up. People are done. They don't know if we're going to have a YouTube video about dragon dancing. Do I have a hot take? No. You think Daemon's going to die?
Yes.
Great. I think he's going to go crazy and live for a long time.
You all know
the craziest
you're here.
people live forever.
You all know that you're here for the Frosted Flakes talk.
Captain Crunch sucks. Chews up your mouth.
No,
I don't know
Captain
how you can
Crunch
eat
is
that
good.
without like hurting your jaw. You're hurting your roof of your mouth.
First of all, it's Cap'n Crunch. Cap'n Crunch
Get your name right.
is good.
No.
But for the first few bites. After that, you get that film.
After that, you don't feel pain because your whole mouth is bleeding.
You just taste blood from then on.
I do not want any more blood of childbirth in this show. That's it. That's all I'm asking for. I highly doubt the important people on this show will listen to us. Right?
I doubt it.
They're not going to be like, this is us.
No.
They're not going to be like the leftovers.
No. Because we have actual physical proof that
This
those
guy,
people really
what's his name,
listen to us.
Ryan?
Ryan Condal.
He does not care
Not 1 ounce about what we got to say.
that I called him out.
What was the cereal with the frog?
I don't know, Blake.
Oh, I gotta look this up now. Hold on. Frog cereal.
Oh my gosh, you're so weird. We got like the pretend versions of it
Honey
at BJ's.
Smacks.
Wow, yeah.
Did you were you a Honey Smacks
Blake,
girl?
we got pretend food. I was poor, okay? We wouldn't get the name brand stuff. We got the big bag that had like...
You weren't poor.
Like it wouldn't have been a frog. It would have been a chameleon or a toad with a wart on it, but it would have been a big bag. No.
You weren't poor. You were po.
Oh my gosh.
You were so poor you couldn't afford the OR.
No, I could afford the OR. Okay? We were thrifty. You don't need Apple Smacks, Jacks, whatever. Okay, let's...
Apple Jacks that's
we
an underrated
are so
cereal.
over this, okay? Cereal actually isn't healthy for breakfast.
I never said it was.
I know, so let's stop bringing about this falsity.
What falsity? I never said that.
People are like subliminally thinking like, what cereal do I want to have tomorrow? Do I even have cereal? Should I Instacart it?
If you're going to Instacart any cereal, it's got to be
Alexa,
Cocoa Pebbles.
Add Cocoa Pebbles to my order. Blake's dying because he needs to do that tonight because our kids ate all of his.
They ate all my Cocoa Pebbles.
When I've told you, it should only be cereal Saturdays. Okay? We're trying
No,
to
we
add...
were doing cinnamon roll Saturdays.
Well, you stopped that.
Well, what are we doing?
I don't know, Blake.
What are we doing?
Not my job.
Not my chair.
My
not my
job
problem.
is healthy breakfast. I always include eggs, fruit, and then we can do carb.
You know,
including with multivitamins.
When I make breakfast, it's like pancakes, cinnamon rolls, waffles.
Covered in frosting.
With
a side of maple syrup.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When Mary makes it, it's like grapes.
No, it's not just grapes.
No, but I'm saying, like, you do...
I do a very
like
heavily protein
A normal
breakfast.
person...
No, it's not normal.
No, but you do like a healthy
Yeah.
version of... And I'm just like, sure, there you go. Have fun. Here's some extra bacon while you're at it.
You're not my problem. You're going to school.
Take a hike. All right. Time to close it out. Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on.
No. Oh my God. What?
Wait, did you ever eat the Halloween cereal?
That's gross.
Like is it Frankenberries?
I don't know. They sell it at
Count
Target.
Chocula.
I only bought it once, like as an adult.
Mhm.
Not good. Not quality.
Count Chocula was not good.
None of it's good. None of it's good for you. Gross.
Do you ever try the Lucky Charms with just the marshmallows?
I'm going to bed.
Oh man, the serial talk on this episode is fantastic. All right, everybody, thank you so much. We're gonna close this bad boy out. Marvin, are you ready to close it out?
I've been ready for 10 minutes. Yes.
Let's do it. How did we even get on serial? That's my question.
I don't even want to say the word anymore. I'm over it, Blake.
Now we've hit the point where whenever you say the word too much, it loses its meaning.
I was trying to understand your pop culture references in life based upon how it correlated to mine because we went first through the electric slide.
Yo, so you're the one who brought up serial, not me.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Me, and I will regret it till I die. Till I die.
Well, everybody, one thing you won't regret till you die is going to jointhenerdclan.com and becoming a member there because you want to
find the dragon's remains so quickly.
I don't think that they did. I think what happened was Luke didn't come back.
Yeah.
But they saw him.
Who saw him?
The Baratheons saw him take off.
Yeah.
And they put two and two together because they knew that Aemond was there. And
you don't think
Aemond
that they
took off
found,
at the same exact
remnants
time
of a dragon wing?
Well, I'm sure that it pops up eventually.
Why are you yelling again?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm just excitable today.
Are we even recording? I don't even see it anymore.
No, we're recording.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we are. Yeah, we are. Okay. We're good.
So stop yelling.
I'm excitable today. Oh, man. I'm sure that they found something. I'm sure that like something popped up somewhere. Like they found the black box floating around.
So sad.
Oh, man.
I'm done.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody.
This was a season, friends, and I cannot wait for season 2. Stay in touch with us, please. Head on over to minutewithmary.com or find me if you have any beauty needs or if you need to do some holiday shopping.
Yes.
For a loved one who does enjoy skincare or mascara, I can hook you up.
Mm-hmm. And of course, as I was saying before, go to jointhenerdclan.com if you are a fan of Mary and I, and we do bring some light and enjoyment in our heavy-duty serial talk.
Maybe Blake will yell at you.
And especially if you are a fan of The Crown, you do not want to miss out on Keep Calm and Crown On, which can only be found at jointhenerdclan.com. And that will start back up in November. But in the meantime, ladies and gents, we're going to be doing the Potterverse, which is Mary and I's deep dive into Harry Potter. We will be returning back to The Goblet of Fire, chapter 30, as a matter of fact. So I'm very excited about that. If you are a fan of Harry Potter, please do check out the Potterverse. It is, it's just a really good time, and you get to hear one of our other favorite Mary and Blake segments, which is the different perspective. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's just an amazing take from Mary for every episode.
Thanks, Blake.
You're welcome, Mary.
I love you.
I love you too.
How about you go to the sea and I'll go take the skies?
Hey, whoa, time out here.
I'll go have my freshly made omelets.
Time out. You don't have to shave your legs or nothing. You can just do whatever you want.
You need to at a certain point because when it gets too long and you're wearing pants or a suit of armor, it starts to hurt. I don't know if it gets caught. I don't wear armor. Oh my goodness.
Well, if you put pants on, I don't know if you put pants.
Again, I love you. Friends, my name's Mary. Yeah, his name's Blake. Truck Harris. Is that how Rhode Island says it?
Harris.
Done. Truck Harris. Oh my God.
Hey, Vhagar. Vhagar. Truck Harris. Hey, while you're over there, want to light my ciggy for me?
We should totally, in the interim, like voiceover some of these scenes with like thick Boston accents. Hey, Rhaenyra. What, Daemon? Rhaenyra. I want to go to war, Daemon.
Yeah, but Rhaenyra, I got these eggs. It's wicked dark down there.
It's wicked dark.
It's wicked dark, but I had this fire torch.
Oh. Wasn't VMX. Wasn't Vhagar. Some other dragon. That my dad's dragon. It's wicked old.
It was Vermithor.
Whatever. I'm going to rename him. Killer.
Gonna take me to the packy. We're going to get some beers.
Love it.
We'll get them wine coolers that you like.
Go watch the Sox. Maybe. Oh, you know what? The Pats game. I'm going to cheer for the Pats.
That Bailey Zappi, he's wicked good.
Oh, my God.
He's totally taken over for Mac Jones.
We should nickname him. Sand Smoke.
It's good because it's different than Sea Smoke.
Yeah, because it's football.
We like to call that wordplay.
That's why I said sand, because it's the ground.
But they don't play football on sand.
I don't really care. I'm so tired. I don't know why I go down any of these routes with you.
We should be calling them grass smoke, but that means something else.
Dracarys. Dracarys. Push stop. If you've heard it this far and you want us to make one of these, please let us know.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.